In this farm video, you're going to see myself along with a few friends and my oldest son Ethan loading broiler chickens into transportation crates. It's time to load them up, get them to the butcher. We're going to walk you through the entire process of how we load chickens, how we put them on the trailer, how we secure the crates to the trailer and get them ready for transport the following day to the butcher. So we're getting ready to put our chicken crates onto the trailer, and we'll get the tractor hooked up to the flatbed trailer. We always use that to drive the 1/3 mile back through the woods to our back pasture. Getting ready to load chickens. Going to show you the entire process from start to finish.
Here's an example of one of Darby's chicken crates. Each of these crates will be loaded with 10 chickens in them, and then these crates go onto this trailer. Pretty simple. They're all plastic construction that makes it nice to clean them. The door to open them, snap shut right here. 10 of the chickens go into there. One thing that a lot of people need to think about when they're starting a chicken enterprise is if you're going to need crates to transport the chickens either from the field to where you're processing them or from where you have them in your field to your processor, wherever that may be, if it's off farm, is how many of these do you need? These can be expensive, maybe $60 a piece. So if you start to do the math, thinking I can get 10 chickens in here, $60 a piece, how many crates do you need? And that's going to be part of your initial startup costs. One thing that I think it's often overlooked are these. It can be a big expense. The nice thing is though, it's a one-time expense. They're probably not going to break during normal use. They're not going to get all skanky because you can just power wash them off, stay nice and clean, but you will need these. So just be thinking about that when you start doing birds. So Al, you've helped Darby do this many times before. It's 4:45 right now. How long do you think it's going to take us to load up these 500 birds?
An hour and a half, 2 hours.
Hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see how long it takes. What's the worst thing about loading birds?
Like crap on you.
The poop. The poop. So 500 birds. How long is it going to take to load them? What's your guess?
Looking at the crew that we have, I would say 45 minutes.
45 minutes, yep. 2 hours. Ethan, you've been out here. How long is it going to take?
Usually it depends. If everybody's motivated, it takes an hour. If it takes longer, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours.
So we got a wide range here, 45 to 2 hours. We'll see what Darby's doing. He's coming up on the tractor right up here. We'll see what he thinks as it goes on. 500 birds. Do you have help here? How long is it going to take to load them?
From the time we get started here till the time we're strapped up and we've got the trailer on the truck, probably about 2 hours.
2 hours. So he says 2 hours. He's done it the most out of anybody here. Load gets is 45 minutes. Now we'll see how long it actually takes. Time to get the crates off the trailer. That's the next step. When you have a job that's going to take a long time, 2 hours being a long time, it's a stressful time, the birds are stressed out, the people want to get this job over and done with because it can be a dirty job. You try and cut as many corners as you can and save time where you can, create some efficiencies. One thing, put all the chicken crates that you need in place ahead of time so they're there. That also frees up the trailer so the trailer is ready to receive those chicken crates. The other thing you can use is DIY technology like this. This is just a simple herding board that Darby's made, and you can just use it like this to get the chickens contained into one area. He has 2 of these, so 2 of these can be unleashed within one chicken tractor. It allows you essentially to have an extra pair of hands by passively or really physically segregating the chickens into one area so the person in there can pick them up out of the area you want, pop them into these crates, and just make the job a little bit easier. That's the whole key here, is get this done as fast as you can, because I don't think anybody likes this day. So what we have going on right now is one of the volunteers is inside the chicken tractor using those herding boards that I showed to help segregate out some of the chickens in there to get them easier, to make them easier to load. We're not going to try and do them all in one shot. 100's too many. They'll scatter all over the chicken tractor. So you kind of divide and conquer. Divide the big group up into smaller groups, load the smaller group, and then herd the rest into a smaller group. Repeat the process till they're loaded up. You have one guy on the outside. He's putting them into chicken crates. He's keeping a count. They're going for 10 birds per crate, and they'll just work their way down the line here.
Or,
I don't know.
where we at? 4?
Okay. All right, Kyle. Zach, put it in.
It's 5:05 right now. We started loading around 4:50-ish, 15 minutes to do one chicken tractor, and I think there's about 115-ish birds in here. It's a stressful job because the chickens are getting stressed out with somebody in here. It's a dirty job. There's a lot of dust and dander. You're standing in manure. There's a lot of manure coming out of the actual birds themselves, so you're getting pooped on during it all. And not the most glorious job on the farm, but if you're going to take on pastured poultry, this is one of the days you're going to have to look forward to, or maybe not look forward to, but plan on coming down the line, because eventually you're going to have to get your birds out of a tractor just like this.
Yes, go that way. Straight down. There you go. So what I'm doing right now is actually taking this old piece of treated lumber. I'm going to stick it down in here, push the crate up. What I found is because being on these boards, when you're accelerating and stopping, you get chicken crap all over it. It gets really slick, and these things will actually shift on you. And I've had my straps come loose in transit and had to stop and restrap. So what I've learned is put these blocks in there. We get everything locked down really nice and tight. Then our load can't shift around when we're transporting them from here to the butcher. We'll get our straps on and we'll be good. 5,
7, 8.
Something else that's really important is when we're stacking these crates is to make sure that they lock in. You can see how these are made to go together. They lock together, so again, they won't shift when they're in transport. Pay attention, bud. Brian, one of our helpers here, is using our little herders to move some more chickens up to the front. That's why you see the other guys just kind of hanging out. Once he gets them up there, we'll start filling this crate up. Something that's pretty important is not to try and put too many birds into each crate. So tonight we're putting 10 birds in each crate, which is pushing the envelope a little bit because these guys are so daggone big. The weather's been super cool, and these birds are big. This is one of the largest batches of chickens we've had in several years. So we're gonna put 10 in here. Normally that's about all we put in anyway. They're okay, but they're definitely pretty snug. The guys are gonna put them up on the trailer here. Yeah, go ahead and put a block down. What Kyle's doing right now is putting down a block between the sets of crates here. That will help to lock the crates together. So what we do here is we put these old pieces of wood in here. That way the crates don't shift. What we found over the years is that, I mean, these chickens are still leaving their calling card down here, and they poop all over these boards, and frankly it's really slick, and it makes it very, very easy for the crates to slip around when they're in transport. And what happens when those crates start, shifting like this is your ratchet straps, which we'll put on here in a little bit, become loose. And I've had several times in transport where I've had to stop and resecure the load on the side of a highway, on the side of an interstate in the dark. It's really dangerous, not advisable. So started putting these blocks in here, and that totally solved that problem. The other thing we're doing is we're only going 5 high with our crates, making sure that when we stack them, they lock together. These are really made to latch together here. They've got this recessed part here that comes down and then this lip. And that really keeps the load, again, from shifting in transport. Very important. We only go 5 high because just don't feel like it's any safer or safe enough to go any higher than that. Here in a little bit, we'll take our ratchet straps and actually strap all these crates down, hold them in place. That way we've got a nice secure load on the way to the processor tomorrow morning. We'll be leaving here at about 5:30 a.m. It's dark. We don't want any problems. Nothing special about these blocks. Just want to make sure you use a uniform size. If they're 6x6, 4x6, whatever. I wouldn't try to use a 2x6. You need something more substantial than that. Or you could use all 4x4s, whatever. But put something in there. The other thing that does, as you can see, is it puts a nice gap in here in between your crates, so you've got some airflow in here. These guys do get hot. The other thing I'd tell you is to use an open trailer to transport your birds. Putting them in a livestock trailer can be a disaster. That's definitely an ask me how I know. So right now, Brian's just putting the birds in the crate. We're gonna get 10 in there, and then we'll load this full crate up. You can see we've got our 2 herders up here in the front. We push all. Come here, chicken. Runaway chicken. He almost got away.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is.
No, we don't need another one. We just have.
Okay. So we're pretty much done in here. Just got a couple left. We'll put them in there and then we'll shift this whole thing this way. We got 1 pin left to go. I'll back the trailer up so that it's pretty close. We're not walking so far to load up.
At this stage of the game, 4 chicken tractors down, 1 to go. So far, so good, no problems. It's about 5:40, so we're 50 minutes into the actual loading itself. Doing pretty good. We'll definitely be done 3-2 hours, but we passed that early estimate of 45 minutes. I'll keep you posted on the rest of this.
Yeah, one big expense, frankly, are these crates. These things, by the time you get them shipped, you're probably looking at $60 a piece. You know, we've got 54 of these daggone things, so well over $3,000 in crates. That's something we've talked about on one of the podcasts about, you know, do you do 5 batches of 100 chickens or 1 batch of 500 chickens? Your upfront capital costs can play a big role into deciding, you know, how you go about structuring your business. Each one of these pens, by the time you get it built, you get the feeders in it, the water in it, you're looking at, you know, $500, $600. So not an inexpensive thing to get started with. We've got 5 pins right here. Call it $2,500 to $3,000 plus our crates. You're looking at $6,000 in upfront cost to have an operation like this. One other thing I want to point out here is that really, at least for us, to make this super efficient, if you've got, you know, 3 able adults and even 1 12-year-old, that's really all it takes. I mean, normally I'd be in here helping. So it's not like you need 4 adults. If you got 1 person putting chickens in there, and then you got two adults moving that heavy crate, and you can have, you know, Zach's been helping since he was 9 or 10 years old. Just putting that empty crate up there and helping to keep count and keep the chickens in there and close the door if need be. It's really, you know, pretty simple. A couple hours and you can have all these birds loaded up. Takes a little bit less labor than you would think, but it's definitely something you cannot do by yourself unless you're maybe only doing, you know, 100 birds. I've done it that way. I started out doing it that way, collecting and loading up to 150 birds by myself. But I wouldn't suggest trying to do that long term. It's definitely worthwhile to get some people to help you out. Total expected losses, we started 550 birds in this batch. I think we put about 530-ish out on pasture, so we lost 20 in the brooder, call it less than 5%. And then we're loading up probably about 510, 515 tonight, so, you know, we lost another 15 or so out on pasture. Overall, I kind of planned for a 10% death loss, and it's not uncommon to see like maybe 1 or 2 of these guys die in transit. They can get stressed. Stress is something you want to be very careful with. Typically, you go ahead and feed them. You know, we fed them this morning. We take their feed away sometime midday. It's very, very important to make sure they have plenty of cool water to drink all day long. You want to be careful when you're in there pushing them around. You don't want to try to push every bird up towards the front at one time. You do them in kind of groups. We'll try and push maybe, you know, 25, 30 birds up at a time. There's 90 birds in a pen. So we'll do that 3 times, maybe 4. Again, just to not stress them out, not overloading them in the crates, putting, 8, 9, 10 birds per crate. Just want to watch the stress level. I expect we'll have 1 or 2 dead ones by the time we get there tomorrow morning. That's not uncommon. I think the most I've ever had in transit using the open trailer has been maybe 5 or 6, and that's only happened 1 time. Using a closed livestock trailer, we've had a couple of disasters where it was too hot. We didn't stack the crates right. They didn't have enough airflow, and we actually had one time we lost over 50 birds in 12 hours just sitting in the livestock trailer. They just got too hot. So learn and change and do better in the future is what I can tell you, but definitely plan on about a 10% loss from start to finish.
Let's turn it sideways.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
We're down now to the last set of birds, and we have 1 crate left. We're actually 1 crate short, so one of Darby's sons went back now to get an extra crate, and the trailer itself at this stage is pretty full. All in all, it's gone pretty smoothly. 5:50 right now. We're about 1 hour in. Call it on the load. The next step will be to strap all these crates down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be.
Here, give me one now.
There we are. We're fully done with the loading part. All 500 and something odd birds have now been put into chicken crates. All the chicken crates are on the trailer. Next step is to strap the crates into the trailer. The trailer is now being left at a staging point. This is the area where the tractor leaves, the truck comes in. This road's pretty rutted as you get closer to the pasture, so Darby uses his tractor to pull it through that stage, and then the truck takes over from here to go off the farm and pull it down the highway to the processor. This is where he's gonna hook up the truck, and this is where he's gonna strap down the chicken crates to the trailer itself, which you'll see next. Chicken crates are now all strapped to the trailer. What started at 4 p.m. is now finally done at 7:10 p.m. So 3 hours, 10 minutes to get everything out of the chicken tractors, onto the trailer and ready to go. The journey continues tomorrow. We'll be getting up sometime around 5 to leave here by 5:45. Crates are all strapped down. Trailer is now gone and parked in front of the house. That's all we're gonna do for tonight. What started at 4 p.m. actually ended up now at 7:05 p.m. So 3 hours, 5 minutes to get everything set up and finished off to the point where we can start driving. And tomorrow starts early, starting at about 4:45 a.m. when we gotta get up to haul these guys to the processor to get them there sometime around 7. That's all for tonight. The journey continues tomorrow.